Hey everyone, welcome to the Oceanside 70.3 preview. The first real big race of 2023 kicks off Saturday, April 1st at 6:40 local time. And my name's Travis, I'm the host of the Daily Tri. It's just me that creates all of this, so if you guys could subscribe and like the video, that would help out tremendously. But the timeline of the video is as follows as we look at the storylines around the race, what happened last year, before taking a look at the start list and how that will affect the race dynamics before looking at my predictions. We'll also stop by and take a look at Ryzen's US launch and how I've got a nice discount code for all of you to take advantage of. Plus, I might be doing a live watch along on Saturday, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's jump into the storylines. And on the men's race, you've already heard, I'm sure by now, that Lionel Sanders pulled out, but also that yesterday, Jan Frodeno pulled out of the race due to a virus. What you might not have heard just yet is that Leo Berger also got a virus, and it was COVID, but he's decided to continue on racing. I wish personally that Jan would have made the same decision so we could have seen them go head to head, but I'm really glad we've got Leo Berger still racing. And then even with Jan and Lionel out, it still leaves 73 names on the start list. But from what I've last heard, there's going to be about 62 men competing. And we're going to get to that number a little bit later. And on that start list, we've got Ben Canute, a two-time winner, taking on the defending champion, Jackson Laundry, and also five-time winner Andy Potts is also on that start list. Jason West is probably the hottest athlete coming into the race from his win at Miami, while Sam Long will be looking to improve from his fourth place there under his new coach, Dan Plews. The strength of the field for the men's race is actually lower than the women's, and it is a silver tier race for the PTO rankings. Finally, George Goodwin, a name you might not have heard of, is a very promising athlete from a few years ago who's taken some time off and is coming back to race. On the women's side, Kat Matthews is arguably the biggest headline as she makes her return to racing following her crash not that long ago before Kona. We're really excited to see how she does. It'll be a tough one though to start back with as Ironman world champion Chelsea Sodaro is racing, and we'll have to wait and see how she does now that she's got that title attached to her name. But I think the biggest headline from the women's race that I've been hearing a lot of chatter about is the fact that the women only start 2 minutes behind the men. And with such a large field of men racing, there's going to be a lot of women overtaking the men on the swim and having to deal with them on the bike. It could get quite chaotic. It's going to get quite messy. We know it's been a problem for many years now, but with such a large group of men and with the women's field getting more and more competitive, and with all of these women relying on these races for their livelihood, I think it's going to be even more of an issue going forward. So we'll have to wait and see how that all unfolds. So those are the main stories I've heard coming into the race this Saturday. So let's move on to look at those crazy start lists. We see Jackson Laundry's got the number one spot with Ben Canute, and then Mickey Tagholt, who a lot of you might not know how good he is, but man, Mickey is just waiting to have a breakthrough performance. So I can't wait to see how well he does here. I think he definitely could be in for the win. We've also got Sam Long, Jason West, Leo Berger, Trevor Foley might be the fastest runner in the field, as well as Sam Appleton, Chris Leiperman, Andy Potts, Eric Lagerstrom, Luciano Taccone, Matt McElroy, to name a few. And on the women's side, it's Chelsea Sodaro who heads the list with Holly Lawrence, Paula Finley, Kat Matthews, Tamara Jewett, Sophie Watts, a fantastic runner, alongside Danielle Lewis, Melanie McQuaid, and Maya Stage Nielsen, some of the biggest names there. Such a stacked and long start list for both the men and the women. We're lucky to have this race so early in the year, and it makes me excited for what's to come. I wanted to quickly jump into last year's race before previewing this year's race, as there were a lot of names that will be returning this year who will look to do a lot better than they did last year. The overall time last year for the men's race was Jackson Laundry's 3:45 flat, and the top runner from that race was Lionel Sanders, which included his sprint finish with Rudy Von Berg, and it was a 1:08.29, which is pretty ridiculous. For the women's race, it was Taylor Knibb who was dominant with a 4:06 overall, and unsurprisingly, Ash Gentle had the fastest run with a 1:16. Looking at the men's results, and the names that stand out are Ben Canute's 5th and Jason West's 6th place. with Jason being over 3 minutes and 20 seconds down. Yet both of these names are favorites for the race this year for sure. And on the women's side, the names that stand out the most to me were Holly Lawrence, placing much higher than Paula, who did not have a great swim in that race, where Holly finished in third and Paula finished in sixth place. But Paula was just a little bit ahead of who would become the Ironman world champion, Chelsea Sodaro, who finished in seventh place. Another name that I think you should be watching for is Danielle Lewis, who was 10th at that race, but I guarantee you she'll be a little higher than that on Saturday. But that leads nicely into the race dynamics for this year. And we'll start with the men's, and with Jan pulling out and Leo Berger getting sick with COVID, the front swim group loses some of that firepower in my opinion. But Ben Canute and the other strong swimmers such as Sam Appleton, Mickey Tagpole, and Eric Lagerstrom, they'll still have enough to perhaps get away from the likes of Jason West. However, he did swim in the front group last year, and he's even stronger this year, so that will be interesting to see how it plays out. We know all of them will be trying to get as much time into the likes of Sam Long and the other strong bike runners like Trevor Foley, Jackson Laundrie, and Matt McElroy. So interesting to see how that swim plays out. From there, we saw that Ben had a great bike split at 70.3 Worlds, and I think he knows he can outrun the likes of Jason West, so he'll probably be pushing hard at the front of the race and trying to get a bit of a gap. Sam Long said it will take a 109 on the run to win this year, but he might have to run even quicker if Ben Canute and company can put too much time into him coming into T2. From there, I think the run is going to be an interesting one, and I'm curious to see if another group forms like it did last year, or if someone like Berger, West, or Matt McElroy just decides to leave everyone in their dust and really stretch the field out and hopefully hold on for the win. I'm not sure if anybody has quite enough firepower to get away. I think it's going to come down to the run and whoever can run possibly a 108 low for this race. And for the women, expect to see that mess we were talking about with the likes of Paula Finley and Holly Lawrence having to swim through a bunch of men and then also bike around them and getting overtaken by them. So hopefully it doesn't really affect the race dynamics, but I think it will. We know that there are two great bikers behind them with the likes of Chelsea Sodaro and Kat Matthews, so they'll be trying to get as much of a gap as they can. It'll also be interesting to see how well Chelsea swims at this distance after her great swim in Kona last year. Holly and Paula definitely will be thinking about those fast runners like Tamara Jewett as well, as they're on the bike, and they'll want at least a few minutes coming into T2. Tamara is the fastest runner in 70.3 racing right now and currently holds the two fastest 70.3 splits ever. And this graphic by Triathlon Insights shows that she's consistently outran the next fastest female by over 4 minutes. But I also expect Danielle Lewis and Sophie Watts to be moving up a few places on the run. I think the key points in the women's race are to see how well Chelsea swims and whether she's with the front group. And also we'll have to see how well Holly can do. She lost touch with Paula and the group at the 70.3 World Championship. So we'll have to see that. And then I think we should be looking at Paula Finley's run and see how fit she is at this time of the year. She said they had quite a good off season and they're still building back into fitness. So we'll have to see where she stands on the run. It's going to be an absolute cracker. I can't wait to watch. And before I tell you guys my predictions, I wanted to let you know that Ryzen is now available to all of us US customers. They reached out to me because they wanted to let you know that the same gear that Jan Frodeno was going to race in and that he trains in every day is now available to you, ready to be shipped to your door. When I went on there to buy some gear, honestly, the website blew me away. It's super simple and easy to use. And truthfully, the hardest thing was choosing what to buy. They let me know that they've got free shipping for any orders over $150, and they gave me an exclusive 10% off discount for you guys to use on your order. I haven't received my order just yet, but I can't wait to give it a try and let you guys know what I think, perhaps in another training video. Hopefully it makes me as fast as Jan. So make sure you guys take advantage of that discount code and head over to Ryzen and check out their amazing gear. All right, and finally, my predictions. At number 1, I've got Jason West for the men. His run at Miami was just too crazy for me not to put him there, especially with Jan being gone. But it's Ben Canute in second place for me. He will just lose to Jason West, not by much, but he will definitely not be able to keep up. And finally, it's Leo Berger in third place. He will be leading for most of the race, but with his COVID sickness, he just won't be able to hang on in the run. Then the dark horse for me is the blistering fast runner, Matt McElroy, who, in my opinion, if he can have a consistent race across all three disciplines, could win almost anything. So keep an eye out for him. And on to the women's race, I've got Chelsea Sodaro. I think because she hasn't raced since Kona, she's had a lot of time to build fitness. And now with that title on her back, she'll be looking to continue that streak going forward. I think her swim is improved significantly, and I think she'll get the win here. And then in second, I've got Holly Lawrence, who will just edge out Paula Finley on the run, especially if she can hang on in the bike. So then the dark horse for me, and probably will always be the dark horse for the women's racing, is Tamara Jewett with that run that we talked about. We'll just have to wait and see what she's done with her swim and bike in the off season. I think she could be a weapon here and could surprise us all. One more thing before you guys go, and I wanted to let you know that for the race, I'm going to be doing a live watch along and hangout. So come here to the channel. I'll have a few graphics on the screen. I'll be talking about the race. I'll try my hand at some commentary, but also I want you guys to join in, ask me questions, get to know me a little bit more, and talk about the race. So I think it's going to be a fun opportunity to have something other than the Ironman commentary for 3.5 hours. So come hang out, have some fun. And finally, to continue engaging with you guys, I have created a Discord channel, which I hope will become a great place for you to come and talk about pro racing with me and others. And I look forward to watching that grow, and maybe we can do some watch-alongs together on there in the future. All right, and that's it. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the preview. I hope to see you guys at the live watch-along. And if you can't make it, make sure you hop in the Discord channel. The link is in the description, and we'll be chatting about the race nonstop, I'm sure, for a while to come. So thank you guys again. Have a good one. We'll see you soon. Bye.